Well, hello, this is Jack Sheffield. I call myself Jack the Exam Guy. I get a lot of questions about my courses. Sometimes it's emails, sometimes people are calling me. And so I thought of what I would do is just do a video presentation, which would give everybody an overview of what the business and finance exam prep course is all about. As you can see, I'm going to get my pointer out here. Let's see there. uh, as you can see, that you can scroll down and sample the course at no cost. When you enroll in the course, when it says continue and you want to enroll, you just give me your email address and you set up a password, and I don't ask for a credit card or anything like that. I want you to be able to sample the content before you buy, and that way you know exactly what you're getting into. All right, so you can scroll down and sample it at no cost. Now here's what we're looking at. When you do scroll down, you're going to see some sample math calculations. All right, so this is an introduction. This is some sample type of math questions that you might see on the exam. I get good feedback from students all the time about the types of things that they, experience. And so I'm able to I continuously develop my content. And these are three examples right here. And these are free, as you can see. So you can watch my video where I explain partial year interest calculation, or, how you're going to figure out overhead, or this proportional means that, you're actually have to look at last year's overhead, figure out what percentage it was, and then apply it to a job that you're doing, in the future that you're bidding. Or maybe a federal unemployment tax calculation. So these are all three videos that I've developed based on feedback from people that have experienced that. Okay, so then there's some more free videos. I introduce you to the course and explain, a little bit about the course, which of course I'm doing that now. And then also signing up for the exam. So if you haven't signed up for the exam, then I show you how to do that as well. You can skip all those if you like. And then I tell you a little bit about the testing environment and some tips. That's where we can also talk about some highlighting what you can do with your manuals and so on and so forth, and basically what to expect when you get there on test day. All this stuff is free, and then I tell you, I give you even a little bit more free business math. I talk about this thing called percentage of completion, probably one of the more um, complex. I wouldn't say it's complex, but once if you don't have somebody walk you through it, then it becomes complex. But once I explain it to you exactly what they're looking for on the exams, then it becomes uh, fairly understandable. Okay. Now, usually what I do is I have videos which explain these things, these concepts, and then I have a practice exam afterwards, which will reinforce that. That is sort of the format for the whole course. I will show you videos, and then I will have a practice exam, which will make sure that this information is reinforced, and then we'll move on to the next thing. And that's the last free section. If you decide at that point you want to continue, when you go to the next section, you will be asked for payment. At this point in December of 2025, I am still charging a very low price in relationship to what you'll see in the industry. At this point, is $299 for a course. The business and finance course is $299, and the trade courses are $299 as well. Okay, so this is going to be the rest of the math. So as you can see, we do another video on percentage of completion where it gets a little more complicated. We add some more concepts to it. You've got to learn how to calculate a bond, do some payroll, depreciation, breaking even on a job, installment loans, and then maybe some estimating labor. So these are the types of math questions that I would like for you to be able to calculate all of these math questions. Okay, and then we're going to go to the reference manuals. Okay, so I do a real good job of explaining all the math step by step, and then you have the the practice exams, which reinforce that information. And then I take you through the manuals page by page. Okay, first of all, I give you an introduction. This is it's an hour-long video, but it's a really good introduction. It gives you a good overview of the manuals, what type of information is in each manual, how you know when you're going to go to a particular manual, and so on and so forth. So this is a really valuable video for you to watch. And then I take you through the contractor's manual chapter by chapter. Once again, usually it's 2 videos and then a practice exam. This happens to be 3 videos because chapter 2 is so long, but you've got videos and then you've got a practice exam to reinforce that. Now, when I go through these book questions, the lookup questions, they're usually 20 questions. And the reason is because with the business and finance exam, you have to be answering 20 questions in an hour to finish on time and on the actual state exam. So I develop all of my practice exams on at least the lookup questions to mimic that pace. So I want you to have a good feel for the pace that you need to be on to finish the exam on time. Because believe it or not, one of the biggest reasons people don't pass is they say they ran out of time. They didn't pace themselves correctly. Okay, well, we'll move on. That's chapters 1 and 2 and a practice exam. And then here are the rest of them, 3 through 10, videos with practice exams. And then there's a couple other little videos that I throw in there towards the end. I've done a supplement on federal unemployment tax and state unemployment tax. As you know, as I get feedback from students, sometimes they say, there's a lot of questions on such and such, and I really didn't understand it. So what I'll do is I will go back and I'll do extra videos to kind of supplement what I've already got. And that's this federal unemployment and state unemployment is an example of that. And then the AIA documents. Okay, so once again, I just help you do a thorough exploration of the AIA documents. I give you an overview. I take you through the 201, the one you're going to get most of your questions out of. And then that's about an hour-long video. And then you have the 20-question practice exam. Then I combine the 401 and the 701. They're much shorter. And then you have the practice exam as well. Okay, let's move on. And then there's the final, the Builder's Guide to Accounting. And once again, I've got videos which take you page by page, chapter by chapter, and then there's practice exams, your 20-question practice exams. All right. So those are all your manuals. That's the body of the course, is really taking you through the manuals. That's really, even if you're not good at math, you can pass this exam by making sure, if you're not good at math, then what I say is really know the manuals well. And then go through the math and do the best you can on the math. And if you understand a little bit of the math from my course, you at least have a fighting chance on getting some of those right. Okay. Now, after that, I do have a section on some advanced math. Now, this is for, if you're not very good at math and you're really having a hard time, grasping the concepts of the math that we've already been through, you probably want to skip this section. But if you're feeling pretty good about it, then just go ahead and do the advanced math. They're not that bad. But sometimes on the exam, they'll ask you some pretty crazy math questions. So it's a good idea if you've got the, a decent math skills, to go ahead and go through this section as well. And then finally, there's the final practice exams. Once again, each practice exam is 20 questions. All right. And I'm showing you the first 8. I actually have 40 of them here. There's actually unlimited, because if you clicked on this one, if you went through it and then you did a retake on it, it would give you a whole new set of questions. So I actually only have to have one here, and you could just go over and over and over again. And each time you'd get a new practice exam from my question bank of about 600 or 700 questions. Okay, so that's the final practice exams. This is that section, and then we'll go to the last slide here is if you have any questions, you can call me. That's my phone number. And then that's my email, jacktheexamguy@gmail.com. Just give me a call, give me an email, give me a text, however, whatever is a good format for you. It's fine for me. And you can contact me anytime. I work pretty much all the time on this now. I'm constantly updating these things. I just that's all I do. So feel free to call me anytime. So these are some typical questions. Is how long will it take? Well, it's I think that it's going to be about 15 hours of study time for the business and finance. Okay, then now that's different for the trades. So, but for the business and finance, it's 15 hours plus however much time you want to spend on the final practice exams. So you can do this in a weekend. You can go all day Saturday, all day Sunday, take some final practice exams, and take the exam the next day if that is your preferred method of study, or maybe you're just under the gun, you know, or you can take as long as you want. If you want to work, a couple hours a week, just realize that you got 15 hours. So you do the math and then make sure you do some, schedule some time for your final practice exams as well. How will I know I'm ready? When your practice exam scores are 80 or better on a regular basis, and you're doing them on time in an hour, then you're going to be ready for the actual state exam. If you don't understand something, once again, you can always just give me a call, give me a text, email me. There's no extra charge for, just, your 2 or 3, 4, 5 minutes, 10 minutes on the phone explaining something. That's great. I'd love to hear from you. Or if you really feel like you need some intensive tutoring, I do offer tutoring. At this point, it's $99 an hour. We do that by Zoom, and I would say generally it is not needed. Everybody wants to know, what is my success rate? Well, some schools will tell you they have a 99% success rate, or 100%, or 90%. I don't really think anybody actually follows those numbers, or or follows their statistic. And I don't either. I'm really, too busy developing courses and helping out my students to actually go back and say, well, this person passed and this person struggled or whatever. But I can tell you, I have a very high success rate. I have very happy customers, and occasionally somebody won't pass the first time, and then we'll work on it some more, maybe do some tutoring, maybe just do some consultation, and then almost always um, the second time around they get through it. Do I also have courses for the trade exams? I do. The trade exams, I have courses for almost all of the um, uh, standard trade exams, your typical ones, your plumbing, your roofing, your mechanical and AC and that type of thing. I've got all those. And I'm also developing them at this point. I'm developing them for the more obscure ones, the underground, marine contractor. I just did glass and glazing. And I'm developing those as we move forward. Okay. And do I have courses in Spanish? Actually, this course, I have been working on the business course, converting it into Spanish. It's amazing what you can do with the AI right now. And sure, I've been loading these videos onto onto the app, and dadgummit, the Spanish version comes out on the other end. It's a wonderful thing. So I do have this particular course in Spanish, and I plan to put the trade courses in Spanish as well. Once again, if you have any more questions, 904-755-4111. This is Jack the Exam Guy. And what I say is, when you get through taking my courses, you won't let anybody tell you you don't know Jack. Thank you very much for listening.